It was early morning when a Boeing 747 was approaching the west coast of Ireland. While cruising at an altitude of 31,000 feet, the plane disappeared from the ATC radar screen. A loud explosion rocked the aircraft. The desperate crew tried to reconfigure the aircraft, but they were not able to do so. The plane disintegrated and slammed into the Atlantic Ocean, killing everyone on board. June 1985. Flight 181, a Boeing 747 operated by Air India, landed in Toronto to carry a fifth spare engine. The engine was to be fitted below its left wing. All of the passengers had disembarked for immigration checks. Some of the passengers reboarded the flight, which was flying to Montreal. A total of 270 passengers and 22 crew members boarded the flight. The aircraft took off from Toronto at 8:15 p.m. and landed in Montreal at 9 p.m. "65 passengers deplaned and 105 passengers boarded the flight. The flight number changed to 182 because the flight was heading back to Bombay with stopovers in London and Delhi. From here, there were 307 passengers and 29 crew members on board. Many of the passengers were going to visit family and friends. In the command of the flight was Captain Manjit Singh Narendra, 56. Assisting him as the first officer was Satwinder Singh Bhinder, 41. The flight engineer was Dara Dumasia, 57. The aircraft took off from Montreal with its estimated time of arrival in London as 8:33. The plane was flying at an altitude of flight level 310 over the Atlantic Ocean. There was nothing eventful about the overnight flight bound for Bombay. The pilots were discussing their upcoming refueling stop at Heathrow Airport in London. The co-pilot made contact with the air traffic controller in Channel Island and informed him about their status. Suddenly, an explosion occurred in the forward cargo compartment. It caused rapid decompression and the plane split from front to back. All 329 people on board were thrown out and the plane vanished from the ATC radar screen. The ATC radioed other flights nearby Air India 182, but there was no positive response. ATC then called the Marine Rescue Center at Shannon Airport and provided the plane's last known location. The merchant vessel Laurentian Forest was carrying a newsprint from Quebec to Dublin, Ireland when it received an emergency call. The ship soon found the disturbing scene. The ocean was scattered with bodies and debris. Crewmen Daniel Brown and Mark Stack spent hours in a small lifeboat trying to recover bodies from the sea. The plane from British Royal Air Force dropped flares to guide rescue vessels and helicopters to the crash site. Just before noon, the Irish naval ship arrived and took control of the scene and dispatched an inflatable boat with a 3-person crew. They spent hours picking up bodies, but they found only 38. Eventually, 19 vessels ranging from warship to small fishing boats were on the scene. Despite the heroic efforts from everyone, just 132 bodies of 329 victims were recovered. There was another incident on the same day. The bomb exploded at the terminal in Narita International Airport 55 minutes before the explosion of Flight 182, killing 2 Japanese baggage handlers. 22 June 1985. Vancouver International Airport, 1:30. A man calling himself Manjit Singh checked in as M. Singh, called to confirm his reservations on Air India Flight 182. Initially, the agent refused his request because his seat from Toronto to Montreal and from Montreal to Bombay was not confirmed. He insisted, but the agent again refused him, telling him that his ticket doesn't read that he is confirmed and they were not supposed to check his baggage through. The man said, "Wait, I'll get my brother for you." As he started to walk away, she agreed to accept the bag but told him that he would have to check in again with Air India in Toronto. He had a dark brown hard-sided Samsonite suitcase with him. The agent checked that suitcase and transferred it to Air India Flight 181 and then to Flight 182 to India. At 4:18, Canadian Pacific Air Flight 60 departed for Toronto without M. Singh. CP Air Flight 60 arrived in Toronto 12 minutes late. Some of the passengers and baggage, including the suitcase of M. Singh, had checked in and transferred to Air India Flight 182. Air India had requested extra security due to threats from Sikh activists. So, Canada had assigned extra policemen in terminals in Toronto and Montreal. All baggage was to be checked by X-ray or by hand. Unfortunately, the X-ray machine had broken down that day. Officers used a portable PDD-4 explosive sniffers. When the suitcase of M. Singh was passing through the machine, the sniffer was heard to beep. The officers did not inform Air India because they were not instructed on how to react to such a short beep, so they allowed the bag to pass on its way. Investigators zeroed in on Inderjit Singh Riyat, Talvinder Singh Parmar, Ajay Singh Bagri, and a man named Suraj Singh Gill. Police were making good progress. The search warrants were executed at the homes of suspects in November 1985, but the only charges laid were minor ones against Parmar and Riyat involving possession of explosives for the bomb test. The charges against Parmar were later dropped, while Riyat received a $2,000 fine for possessing explosive. Talvinder Singh Parmar was the founder of Babbar Khalsa. It was the militant Sikh extremist group. The organization aims to create the independent Republic of Khalistan in what is now India's Punjab state. In 1981, India charged Parmar with murdering a policeman in Punjab, which forced him to flee back to Canada. In Canada, he visited Inderjit Singh Riyat, who was an auto mechanic and electrician living in Duncan on Vancouver Island. Parmar asked Riyat to construct a bomb. Then Riyat asked many people in the community about dynamite, telling them that he wanted to remove tree stumps on his property. He also discussed about explosives with a co-worker. 8 May 1985. Riyat bought a Micronta digital automobile clock from a store in Duncan. It was designed for a 12-volt automobile electrical system. The 24-hour alarm activated a buzzer. After a week, Riyat returned to the store to buy an electrical relay to get the buzzer signal to power another device. The relay could be used to trigger the detonator circuit for the blasting cap, which would provide the initial shock needed to detonate larger explosives such as dynamite. During that time, wiretappers recorded 9 phone calls in 1 month between Riyat and Parmar's residence in Vancouver. Due to this activity, the government added Riyat to the list of persons being monitored for terrorist activities. Later, he visited a television repair shop seeking help for a partially disassembled car clock wired to a lantern battery. The next day, Riyat purchased a Sanyo component tuner and left his name and telephone number on the charge slip, which was later found in a search of his home. He also bought smokeless gunpowder from a sporting goods store, signing I Riyat on the explosives log. 4 June 1985. CSIS agents followed Parmar to a bush area on Vancouver Island where he was watching a test explosion. The person who demonstrated the experimental device was Manjit Singh Riyad. Another suspect was Hardial Singh Johal. He was suspected of involvement in several aspects of these bombings. The number of his former home was used while purchasing tickets for the two terrorists, M. Singh and L. Singh, who carried out the attack. Police also had wiretapped evidence of conversations between him and Parmar. In addition, Johal was spotted at Vancouver International Airport by his fellow Sikhs whose families perished in the air disaster. When the investigators studied the debris from Narita Airport, they found the bomb had been housed inside a Sandio tuner with a serial number matching a model sold only in British Columbia and used a Micronta clock as a timer which powered a relay with an Eveready 12-volt battery to trigger blasting caps to set off a high explosive consistent with the stakes of dynamite and all matching items purchased by Riyad. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police Air Disaster Task Force considers Parmar the mastermind of both the Air India bombing and the same-day attempt to sabotage Air India Flight 301 in Tokyo. Parmar returned to India and was killed in a gunfight with Punjab police on 15 October 1992. He was later named as the mastermind of 1985 bombing. On November 15, 2002, Johal died of natural causes at the age of 55. Riyad was the only suspect convicted in the case because he declined to implicate others. Riyad moved his family to England in 1986. Later, he was charged and extradited to Canada and convicted of manslaughter in Narita bombing. He received a 10-year sentence. In June 2001, Riyad was charged with the Air India deaths, and on February 10, 2003, he pleaded guilty. He was released to halfway house in 2016 and has now been fully released with some restrictions since early 2017. This is all for now.